All right, the task of converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. Good news, bad news. Bad news, well, kind of two bad news. Bad news is, first, that fraction stuff that we did is not going away. Second, I would definitely make sure if I write it down, you write it down, because there's a lot of conversions that you have to keep track of. The good news, which is actually great news, is you know how to do most of this stuff. All right, so let's get started. All right, so if we are going from decimal to fraction, we have done this before. All right, and what we want to do is we want to put the decimal on top, one with the number of zeros as decimals there are. This will probably make more sense when we do it. Wrong there, sorry. There are. And then we simplify. So if the words didn't make sense, probably doing one will, and it will jog your memory. I am going to write the 3 on top. I'm going to write a 10 on the bottom because I have one decimal place. One decimal place, 1 0. And then I simplify, which I can't for this one. So I am done. All right, 0.5, we put the 5 on top. We put a 10 on the bottom because, again, one decimal place. I can simplify this. I can rewrite the top as 1 times 5. I can rewrite the bottom as 2 times 5. I can get rid of those 5s, and that just leaves me with 1/2. All right, this one, I put a 5 on top, but now I put a 100 on the bottom because I have 2 decimal places, and I need to simplify. So my top is 5 times 1. My bottom is 5 times 20. The 5s cancel out, and I get that this is 1/20. So again, this should be jogging your memory. We have done this before. The last one, we have 25 over, again, 100 because there are 2 decimal places. I can rewrite the top as 25 times 1. I can rewrite the bottom as 25 times 4. I cancel out the 25s and I get 1/4. Now, even if you didn't remember, say you didn't get that it was 25 times 4 straight off the bat, you could rewrite the top as 5 times 5, and then you could rewrite the bottom as 5 times 20. Those 5s cancel out, but then you have to say to yourself, am I done? No, so this would be 5 times 1, and this would be 5 times 4. The 5s cancel out again and give you that 1/4. So you can do it in multiple steps. Just make sure you do it. All right, to go from fraction to decimal, so the other way around, we simply divide. Now, do you have a calculator? Can you just plug it in now? Absolutely. However, this is a skill that you learned way back when, that first third, maybe the second third, definitely the second third of the class, where you had to be able to do this. And it's not a bad idea to keep that skill in your repertoire. You can always plug 7 divided by 10 into your calculator, right? This is all it is. And you get 0.7. So that is your answer with a calculator. However, it's good practice to be able to still do this. All right, 7 divided by 10, down and out, right? You're down and out, so the 10 is down and it's out. And then you say to yourself, okay, 10 doesn't go into 7, so then I throw a decimal with a 0, and the decimal pops to the top, and I say 10 goes into 70 7 times. and I get 0.7. All right. 1/5 or 1 divided by 5. I put the 1 on the inside, the 5 on the outside. 5 does not go into 1, so I put my decimal there, add a 0, pop it up to the top. 5 goes into 10 2 times, and when I subtract, I'm done. I also should have done that for the first one, but I knew I was done, so I stopped. Now it says round to the nearest hundredth if necessary, but if you end before that, you are done. So this next one, 7 divided by 8. Add the decimal, pop it up to the top. 8 goes into 70 8 times. I get 64. I subtract, I get 6. I add another 0, I drop it down. 8 goes into 67 times. We get 56. I subtract and I get 4. I add a 0 and I drop it down. Now remember, I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so that means I need to take it out 3 places because I have to round to the second. So I have to go one more. If it doesn't end, I can stop, but if it does end, then I'm good. 8 goes into 45 times. 8 times 5 is 40, and I get 0. So I get 0.875. However, I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so for this it would be 0.88 because the 5 rounds the 7 up. And this last one, 2 divided by 3, I add the 0, pop the decimal up. I get 6, 18, 2, oh, and look, I get a 20 again. 6, 18, 2, drop it down. 6, 18, 2, drop it down. This is an example of one that would repeat on and on and on, but because I want to round to the nearest hundredth, I only need to go 3 places because you could be dividing forever. You'd get the same result. And 0.666, that last 6 rounds the one next to it to a 7. All right, so percentage to decimal. We want to move decimal 2 to the left. All right, so you have to place your decimal in all of them, and we place it at the back of the number, or the end of the number if it's not there, and then we move it 2 to the left. Now, anything 9 or below is going to end up with a 0 in front of it. And the reason this happens is because, again, you're moving it twice. So for this first one, I get 0.03. Whereas for the second one, I get 0.30. So you see the difference. If I'm taking 3% of something or 30% of something, I want to get that right because there's going to be a difference. 8% is 0.08, and then 12% is 0.12. And I'm all done with that. Now, writing a percentage as a fraction. You want to put it over 100 and then simplify. Okay, now this one essentially is very, very similar to just a decimal to a fraction. However, because we're talking about a percent, we're able to just put it over 100 because when we're talking about percentage, we are talking about 100%. That's our total. So for this one, we're going to put 20 over 100, and then we're going to simplify. So 20 times 1, 20 times 5 on the bottom, the 20s cancel out, and I get 1/5. 75 over 100, I get 25 times 3 and 25 times 4. The 25s cancel out, and I get 3/4. If the simplifying doesn't come as quickly to you, that's okay. It really just takes practice, and again, knowing those factors. 40 over 100. first thing I can do is knock out off that last 0 of the top and the bottom. Then I get 4/10. That is the same as 2 times 5 on the top. Oh, sorry, I lied. My brain's ahead of me. It's the same as 2 times 2 on the top and 2 times 5 on the bottom. The 2's cancel out, and it gives me 2/5. And 15/100. I know they're both divisible by 5. So on top, I'm going to do 5 times 3. On the bottom, I do 5 times 20. The 5's cancel out, and I get 3/20, and I'm done. Decimal to percent is the exact opposite of the percent to decimal. So instead of moving the decimal 2 to the left, we're going to move decimal 2 to the right. So our decimal is already placed. We are just bumping it to the right. So I get 25%. I get 50%. Make sure if you have a hole where you're jumping, you put a 0 in it. You get 45%. And we get 9%. So decimal to percent, percent to decimal, those are the quick ones. We like those. All right, for fraction to percent, it's like a two-stepper. So first, we have to make it a decimal using the division. And then second, we have to move what we just did, move decimal 2 to the right. Okay, so here, if I have 1/10, again, I can plug that in my calculator, 1 divided by 10. But if I do it this way, I get 0.1, but then I need to move it 2 to the right, so I get 10%. All right, 1/5. I did that one before, so I know that it's 2 up here, 0.2, subtract 10, and we're all done. I move my decimal 2 to the right, and I get 20%. Four-fifths, I get 0.8, but again, move it to the right, and I get 80%. And then 17/20ths, I get 0.8, get 160, I get 10, pull that down, 20 goes into 105 times, and moving my decimal twice, I get 85%. And I'm all done. So again, it's really just keeping those straight. Make sure, write down all 6 of the different steps, and then just go ahead and practice some. Practice makes permanent. And I will see you soon.